Hello everyone and welcome back to Fernando Comics. I saw a request for this in the comments, so I decided to take a crack at it, and it was easier than I thought to find all the fights between these two. Only canon fights to whatever the mainstream continuity was at the time, since DC is a schizo mess of timelines and universe restarts. I turn around to read a new book, and the Anti-Monitor just reset the company, and Brian Michael Bendis transferred from Marvel. So if I make a mistake or I miss one, please just let me know in the comments. Alright, let's get started. So for this first fight, it takes place in Deathstroke the Terminator number 7. Now this is the first battle between the two, and it also sets the precedence for the opinion I find that people typically have over this matchup. Batman is just as skilled, if not more so, but when it comes down to it, Slade is a metahuman, and Batman is not. And after Slade kicks up the pace, Batman can't land a single punch, and he gets one of the worst beatings of his career. That's 1-0 for Deathstroke. And I was very tempted to give an additional win to Deathstroke, because Batman is down, and Deathstroke turns to walk away. And during that time, Batman gets up and drop kicks him through a building. So Deathstroke knocks him out with a kick, and Batman doesn't get up again. It would be possible to consider this a separate fight, and say that the first one had concluded when Batman started a new one. But since I can't tell how much time passed while Batman was on the ground, I'm just gonna say it was all one fight. Kind of. And for this second matchup, this is from Detective Comics number 710. And Batman lands two hard shots on Deathstroke while he tries to interrupt an assassination attempt. Deathstroke then gets up and proceeds to beat the crap out of Batman, and then leaves. That's another win for Deathstroke, but wait, there's actually 3 fights in this issue. So the next part of the fight goes like this. Slade goes back to looking for his target when Batman lands on him and pummels him again, trying to secure the knockout before Deathstroke recovers. Deathstroke then gets up and beats the crap out of him, and then leaves. And believe it or not, in the third exchange of this comic, Batman finally gets his upper hand on Slade by ambushing him for the third time, and then knocks him out with his rifle. And that makes the final score of this issue 2 wins for Slade and 1 for Bruce. Okay, after that we have Infinite Crisis number 7. And the next time these two meet, Batman lands a solid finishing blow on Slade. After Batman jumps in with Nightwing and Robin, which unfortunately is too much outside interference and equals a no contest here. Alright, quickly heading into the next one. This is from Deathstroke number 5 from his 2014 series. And Deathstroke in this match is suffering from an overwhelming of his senses due to having been made young again. And he hasn't adapted well to his new body, which has slowed down his reaction time against Batman. The result is easily one of the best fights between the two, both visually and from the choreography. This is what comic books are meant to look like, guys. And I would recommend just reading the whole Deathstroke 2014, just all of it. It is very much worth your time. That said, this is another matchup where it's a little difficult to score, because there are 2 parts of the fight where Slade is 1 move away from victory, but is interrupted by Harley Quinn twice. Once with a hard shot to the back of the head, and the next with straight up explosives. And to top it off, Slade gets up before Batman at the end of the fight, and has a conversation with Harley before leaving with her. It's hard for me to ignore these factors and score it like it's a tie, when there's a lot more going on for Slade than vice versa, even if it was a great fight. And I have to give this round to Slade. In their next matchup though, that comes from Batman number 28 from the 2016 series, Deathstroke and Deadshot had been fighting for 5 days straight, while Batman tried to stop them and reduce casualties. And when Batman finally caught up to them, Batman beat the piss out of the exhausted mercenaries, resulting in a win for Batman. It's true, Slade was tired, but so was Batman. He was following them all throughout those 5 days. So Wilson doesn't get the excuse, and Batman gets a point. Going back quickly to Deathstroke's 2016 series for issue number 30, Batman drags Slade by the neck with a chain and the assistance of the Batwing. But unfortunately, besides that awesome opening shot, not much happens. They just crash into the water, and Slade gets out first and gives Batman a hand to get out of the water too. But nothing was done to secure a win by either party, so that would be a tie. 2 issues later though, we get a rematch. We get a very quick fight at the beginning of the issue, where Batman is trying to stop Slade from once again killing another target. but nothing really happens between the two to constitute a victory for either one, so we're going to call that a quick tie. But at the end of the issue, we get another, while brief, a much cooler fight that results in a brief exchange and not enough damage done by either party to determine a winner. So, 2 ties in the same issue. Following up those last 2 little conflicts, we go to issue number 34 of the same Deathstroke series, and we get a banger between the two, but this time it's in the Batcave. It's an aesthetically beautiful fight. The two of them have their classic suits on, and throughout the match, Slade is poking and pestering at Batman for having such a bloodthirsty child like Damian Wayne. So Batman just decides to make fun of him for being divorced. Twice in the same issue. And the fight is wrapped up as Bruce lands the knockout strike on Slade. Just in time to notice he's been stabbed, and both fighters pass out. That is a certified tie. In the next issue, for issue number 35, the fight picks up as both of them are regaining consciousness, and the two hit each other with everything they've got despite not being able to stand, until the two eventually decide enough is enough, and in a sign of mutual respect, help each other walk. Next up is Batman Universe number 1, and this is written by Brian Michael Bendis. See, I told you this was going to happen. Next up, Batman throws down with Deathstroke in a bar while looking for the Riddler, and Batman dominates the fight and tosses Slade around a bit. But Slade took advantage of a few distracted moments, and unfortunately, Green Arrow interferes and gets the KO for Batman while Slade was still able to fight. Which means I have to call this one a no contest, despite the fact that if it had continued, Batman was probably going to win. Moving on to issue number 86 from Batman's 2016 series. This is a little bit unique, because this fight between the two is good. But you wouldn't know it if you weren't aware of the entire middle part of this fight takes place in a different comic. The beginning and the end of the battle starts in Batman number 86, while everything in the middle happens in Batman Secret Files number 3. Not a great decision in my opinion, easy to get confused. Regardless, it's a good fight. And Batman's cable snaps Slade's sword and drags him out of the building so they can fight outside. Slade starts to overwhelm Batman and stabs him multiple times before Batman has enough and lands easily the most devastating move of the entire rivalry by jamming one of his blades into Slade's blind eye and then finishing off with a slam. This is easily the clearest and most well-deserved victory Batman has had in the entire rivalry. Moving on to issue number 91 from the same 2016 Batman series. After such a banger in the last one, this fight is kind of a letdown for me because nothing really happens. A very brief exchange, Batman tackles Deathstroke off a building with no intention of ever letting either of them hit the ground, and that's it. So the last fight between these two we have access to at the moment that I know of within continuity ends in a tie. Hey, credit where credit is due, those were mostly great fights. It's not always you get the love these two get in all the matches they've had throughout the years. And I have to say, Batman is definitely at a disadvantage and does extremely well for having to abide by his no-killing code, and on top of that, Deathstroke having the metahuman advantage on him. There's a match or two there that could have been declared a win for Batman if he'd been willing to finish Slade off. And one or two also that if I had scored a tie, would have evened up the score. It's a razor-thin margin between the two. But as of this moment, presuming I haven't missed any drastic issues or victories for either party, Slade holds a narrow lead on the leaderboard. Next, I was thinking of doing every Hulk versus Iron Man fight, since I already have those ready to go. But if you have any recommendations, just drop them in the comments, please, you guys. Thank you, everyone. That was a lot of fun. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.